We are drowning in information, but starving for wisdom. We live in an era where the ability to store data is infinite, yet our capacity to act on it is at an all-time low. You are carrying the weight of 1,000 useless facts. Every notification, every trending outrage, every minor detail of someone else's life. Your brain was never designed to be a hard drive. It was designed to be a processor. And right now, your processor is jammed. You think you are informed, but you are actually just cluttered. The ability to forget, to consciously and ruthlessly delete the noise, is the most important cognitive skill of the 21st century. If you cannot let go of the past, you cannot build the future. You are a slave to your own memory bank. It is time to initiate a system wipe. Forget everything. Start existing. The human brain is a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering, but it was never calibrated for the current epoch of information abundance. For 99% of our history, our survival depended on focusing on immediate, sensory-rich reality. Today, we have replaced that reality with a high-bandwidth feed of abstract, non-contextual data. We are suffering from what I term the data hangover, a state where the brain is perpetually sluggish, not from lack of rest, but from the systemic exhaustion of processing irrelevant stimuli. Every notification that pings on your phone is a cognitive interrupter. Neuroscientific research has shown that when you are in the middle of a task and you allow your attention to be diverted, it takes an average of 23 minutes to return to the original level of cognitive intensity. If you are interrupted every 10 minutes, you are effectively operating in a permanent state of suboptimal processing. You are never truly thinking. You are merely reacting. The metabolic cost of this is staggering. The brain, while only 2% of your body weight, consumes roughly 20% of your daily energy. When you force it to toggle between multiple contexts, switching from an email to a tweet, to a news headline, to a work spreadsheet, you are forcing the brain to dump its working memory and reload it constantly. This context switching is the single most energy-expensive operation in the brain. It is the mental equivalent of starting and stopping a car engine thousands of times a day. Eventually, the engine fails. This leads to information obesity. Just as physical obesity is a result of eating high-caloric, low-nutrition food, information obesity is the result of consuming high-stimulation, low-value content. We are overfed on data but malnourished in wisdom. We have lost the ability to synthesize, to contemplate, and to build long-term frameworks for understanding the world. We are trapped in the now, the endless, meaningless, and fleeting now of the algorithm. To cure the data hangover, we must accept the reality that our brain has a fixed storage and processing limit. We must stop treating it as a dumping ground and start treating it as a sanctuary. At the microscopic level, your brain is a battlefield of connectivity. Every second, millions of synapses are firing, creating a web of potential knowledge. However, this web is not a static structure. It is a dynamic, living ecosystem that obeys the biological law of use it or lose it. This is the essence of synaptic pruning. If your brain were to keep every connection it ever made, you would be paralyzed by the noise of your own past. You would be unable to distinguish the signal of reality from the static of memory. Pruning is the process by which the brain deletes weak or redundant synaptic connections. It is the architectural cleanup that allows the brain to optimize its energy efficiency. Think of your brain as a garden. Without regular pruning, the branches grow wild, blocking the light and draining the nutrients from the roots. In a human brain, the branches are the neural pathways. When you constantly engage with the same useless information, the same toxic news cycles, the same social media loops, you are physically forcing the brain to reinforce those pathways. You are creating superhighways of stupidity. These pathways become so wide and so heavily myelinated that they become your default mode of thinking. You stop being an agent of choice and start being a passenger on a highway to nowhere. The anatomy of forgetting is not just about deleting data. It is about reclaiming the metabolic space for new intelligence. When you purposefully cease feeding a redundant neural pathway, the microglia, the brain's specialized immune cells, arrive to clear away the debris. They literally dismantle the bridge between two neurons that are no longer being used. This is a physical, biological act of freedom. By forgetting, you are not losing a part of yourself. You are renovating your infrastructure for a more complex future. Most people fear forgetting because they identify with their memories. They believe that their past is their identity. But neuroscience suggests the opposite. Your identity is not your past. It is the pattern of your present focus. If you prune the pathways that lead to bitterness, to fear, to trivial data, you are physically altering the hardware of your soul. You are creating a neural clean slate. In a world where big tech companies are building massive data centers to remember everything about you, your refusal to remember the garbage they feed you is the highest form of cognitive independence. It is an act of neurological defiance. We have been conditioned to fear the void. In our modern, hyper-stimulated society, silence is treated as a deficiency, a lack of content, a lack of connection, a lack of progress. If you are not consuming, you are failing. If you are not producing, you are stagnating. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of the physics of the mind. The void is not a state of nothingness, it is a state of potentiality. In the context of the human brain, the void is the activation of the default mode network, DMN, a complex system of brain regions that engages when we are not focused on an external task. The DMN is the headquarters of your identity, your moral compass, and your creative synthesis. It is where you integrate the disparate fragments of your life into a coherent self. But in our current climate, the DMN is under constant attack. Every time you pick up your phone to fill the gap of a waiting room, a commute, or a quiet evening, you are effectively suppressing the DMN. You are choosing to occupy your mind with external noise rather than allowing it to do the work of internal consolidation. This is the void advantage that you are systematically destroying. The ability to become more than the sum of your experiences. When you master the void, you stop being a reactive creature. Most people walk through life as biological feedback machines. Someone insults them, they react. A notification pings, they check it. The media creates fear, they feel it. They have no space between the stimulus and the response. The void advantage provides this space. It is the mental buffer that allows you to observe your own thoughts before you act on them. By training yourself to sit with silence, to be comfortable with the absence of data, you are essentially increasing your response latency. You are no longer governed by the immediate, high-entropy demands of the world. You have built a fortress of calm in the center of the storm. Furthermore, The void is the crucible of true innovation. Innovation does not happen when you are reading what everyone else is reading. It happens when you are in the void, letting your unconscious mind connect ideas that have no business being together. Isaac Newton did not discover gravity by scrolling through a feed. He did it by sitting in a state of deep, undisturbed contemplation. By filling every moment of your day with content, you are actively killing your own creative capacity. You are choosing the dopamine hit of the present over the long-term breakthrough of the future. To reclaim the void is to perform a radical act of self-ownership. It is the act of saying, "My mind is not a public utility for advertisements and algorithms to exploit. It is a private sanctuary." This requires discipline. It requires you to be comfortable with the initial discomfort of silence, which, in the beginning, will feel like boredom, anxiety, or even physical itching. That is simply the withdrawal from the drug of stimulation. If you can push through that barrier, you will find the real you waiting on the other side. You will find that you don't need to remember the world to survive it. You only need to be in it, fully present, completely unburdened, and ready to act from a place of absolute clarity. If the void is the environment where the mind heals, cognitive minimalism is the architectural framework that protects that space. Most people attempt to improve their lives by adding more apps, more habits, more information, more subscriptions. But in a system already at capacity, addition is a recipe for collapse. The solution is subtraction. Cognitive minimalism is not just about deleting apps, it is about deleting the very architecture of your sensory input. It is a radical redesign of your interface with the world. The first step in this architecture is the information firewall. You must view your attention not as a flexible commodity, but as a finite, non-renewable resource, much like your time. Every time you grant a platform or a person access to your attention, you are giving them the keys to your cognitive house. If you do not vet who enters, your house will be occupied by parasites. A cognitive minimalist vets every piece of incoming data. They ask, does this information increase my capacity for agency? If it is just entertainment disguised as news or outrage disguised as information, it is rejected at the gate. This is the architecture of deletion. You don't just clear your cache once, you build systems that clear it automatically. You unsubscribe from the newsletters that don't provide deep, actionable insight. You delete the accounts that trigger reflexive anxiety. You mute the voices that contribute to the noise but not the signal. This is not isolation, this is curation. When you curate your cognitive environment, you are effectively choosing the quality of the thoughts you are capable of having. Furthermore, we must address the digital sunk cost fallacy. We often feel obligated to stay informed because we have invested years of attention into specific platforms, political narratives, or social circles. But if that investment is producing a negative return on your mental clarity, you must cut your losses. Cognitive minimalism requires the ruthlessness of a surgeon. You must be willing to excise parts of your digital life, even those you enjoy, if they are fundamentally degrading your ability to focus. The goal is to achieve cognitive sovereignty. This is the state where you are the sole arbiter of what enters your mind. In the current system, your attention is a public utility exploited by global corporations. Cognitive minimalism is the act of reprivatizing your mind. You build high walls around your focus. You only allow in information that is high quality, long form, and deeply relevant to your personal evolution. You stop being a spectator of the world's noise and start being a sovereign of your own consciousness. When you control the input, you control the output. And the output of a curated mind is not just productivity, it is peace. The final stage of the cognitive reset is the re-anchorage to the terrestrial. For decades, we have been offshored into the cloud. Our reality, our worth, and our connections have existed in the digital ether. But the digital realm is entropic. It is unstable, ephemeral, and governed by algorithms that benefit from your distraction. To reclaim your humanity, you must physically reconnect with the world of mass, gravity, and consequence. This is not a Luddite retreat, it is an optimization of your existence. In the physical world, your actions have immediate tactile consequences. If you plant a tree, you see it grow. If you build a chair, you can sit on it. This feedback loop of reality is the antidote to the digital hangover. We have traversed the architecture of the mind, dismantled the machine of information, and reclaimed the terrestrial soil beneath our feet. We stand now at the point of the clean slate. This is not a state of loss. It is a state of absolute potential. When you have deleted the noise, when you have pruned the redundant neural pathways, and when you have retreated from the digital clouds into the physical reality, you are no longer a consumer. You are a creator. You are an architect of your own consciousness. The system you were born into wanted you to be a passive hard drive, a container for its agendas, its fears, and its consumer patterns. By choosing to forget, you have committed the ultimate act of treason against the entropy engine. You had declared that your mind is sovereign. From this point forward, every thought you have is truly yours. Every connection you make is organic. Every memory you store is of your own choosing. You have moved from a life of reactive complexity to a life of sovereign simplicity. The loop is now closed. The screen is dark. The world is waiting for you to define it, not to consume it. Welcome to the silence. Welcome to the reality. Welcome to the life you were meant to live before the noise began.